everyone, and welcome to another episode of Crafty Beer Reviews. Today I will be reviewing the latest release from Bell's. This is Venus, the Bringer of Peace. This is the second beer in the Planet series, and there are going to be 5 more, so there's 7 in total, and this is a fresh bottle. It was just packaged on the 2nd of October. Today is the 4th of November, so just slightly over a month old. Now, this is a unique beer. So, while Mars was a double IPA, this one gets a little bit different for sure. It is a golden ale base, and then they're throwing in apricot juice, cardamom, honey, and they're also using vanilla beans. So, very interesting. Definitely looking forward to trying this one. I don't know if it's going to be really good or just kind of okay. It sounds like an interesting mix of ingredients, to be sure. But yeah, super excited to check this one out with you guys. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and check out the aroma. Oh yeah, wow, okay, so that apricot juice, wow, really strong up front. Yeah, it smells like apricots. It kind of has that slightly kind of tart smell to it as well. I'm getting some bready, biscuity malts. There's kind of an earthy quality to it. A bit of sweetness. It's kind of like, I wouldn't necessarily say that I'm smelling the honey, but it's definitely got a sweetness to it, and I'm assuming that is coming from the honey. I'm not really picking up on the vanilla beans, though. Yeah, very floral, too. It's got this very floral note. I'm assuming that's the cardamom. I'm not real familiar with that, but yeah, very floral, kind of earthy. Definitely got that biscuity, bready malt, the big time apricot juice. I mean, it's definitely got that tartness. But yeah, it smells pretty much like a wheat beer with some apricot juice thrown in too. So, without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and check out the taste. Oh yeah. So right up front, just like in the aroma, wow, guys. Definitely that big apricot juice. I mean, it's like a juicy apricot. Definitely has that really tart type of note. It's not sour, but it's definitely tart. I'm getting a little bit of that kind of honey sweetness about mid-palate. It's kind of almost got this kind of earthy, grainy type of quality in there. Again, this somewhat reminds me, again, of like a wheat beer, basically. There's definitely that kind of, I'm trying to think of the best way to describe it. I guess basically there's this kind of sweetness, and it's somewhere between vanilla and honey. I wouldn't really say that I'm tasting vanilla beans, but there's definitely the sweetness other than honey that I'm getting in there. And it's definitely, I'm assuming from that. I'm also getting a lot of that kind of floral notes too. Again, I'm assuming that's the cardamom coming into play here, but yeah, first sip dominated by that apricot juice. On the back palate, definitely getting a lot of that bready, biscuity malt backbone for sure. And it's got a medium body. It has actually a pretty dry type of finish, again, because of that apricot juice. It's not particularly bitter, and it's not particularly sweet either. It's actually pretty balanced in terms of sweetness and bitterness. But wow, the apricot juice does add a little bit of kind of dryness, a little bit of that kind of puckering tartness. Again, not something I describe as a sour, but it definitely has that tart element to it. And it's a pretty easy drinking beer. For over 7%, I don't taste alcohol, I don't smell it, I don't even feel it as it goes down, so it's definitely deceptively smooth. That being said, I'm a little disappointed by this. I'm a big fan of the apricot juice in here. Everything else is just kind of like, again, I'm not really picking up on the vanilla. That kind of floral note, I'm assuming, is the cardamom, and then the honey really is just slightly in there. I don't think it's, playing a particularly big role. Again, it's mainly floral, earthy, apricot juice, and that's really mostly it, except for, some sweetness, and again, it's kind of like a cross between maybe honey and maybe vanilla bean, but if I was tasting this blind, I don't think I would say that there was honey or vanilla beans in this personally. So the apricot juice is definitely the biggest element for sure. So as far as a rating, guys, I'm going to go with a 7.6 out of 10. It's not a bad beer, and I wouldn't consider this on like a Beer Advocate or Rate Beer scale. Again, check my scale. I always have it down in the description, so please check it out. I'm not saying this is a bad beer. I'm just saying I'm a little disappointed with it. For what it is, I think it is pretty decent, though. Again, I like that kind of, if it didn't have that apricot juice, if it didn't have that kind of tartness, I think it could be an overly sweet beer, but because of that, kind of keeps it in check, which I really like, and again, hides the alcohol very well. So, nice stuff. Again, a little disappointed, but I am very excited to see what we will see from bells with the future releases. Alright guys, that does for this beer review. Please remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. And remember, I hope whatever you're doing involves good craft beer. See ya.